Holding 10,000 XRP sounds like a finish line, like a secret threshold you're supposed to reach. But do you actually need 10,000 XRP to matter? Is having less pointless? And if you have more, does that really change anything? Let's dive in. The idea of 10,000 XRP didn't come from nowhere. People love round numbers. They love milestones that feel reachable but still rare. So over time, the community turned a clean number into a status symbol, even though the network itself never defined 10,000 XRP as anything special. The real question isn't, is 10,000 XRP the end goal? It's, where does that number actually place you compared to everyone else? And more importantly, does that position mean what people think it means? Or are we projecting meaning onto a number that was never designed to have one? On the XRP Ledger today, there are over 7 million wallets. But here's what most people miss. The typical wallet is extremely small. The median balance is around 20 XRP, and the most common balance is close to 10 XRP. That means most wallets hold very little, far less than people usually imagine. The distribution is extremely fragmented. There's a massive base of small wallets, then a sharp drop as balances increase. Only a small fraction of wallets ever reach 5 figures, and each step up becomes exponentially rarer. This is why looking only at big holders without context can be misleading. The curve thins much faster than people expect. One crucial nuance: a wallet is not a person. One individual can control multiple wallets, and some of the largest wallets belong to exchanges or custodians, representing thousands or even millions of users. So wallet data shows how balances are distributed on-chain, not how many individuals are richer or poorer. So where does 10,000 XRP actually sit? On-chain data shows that only around 4 to 5% of wallets hold between 10,000 and 25,000 XRP. That's a small slice of the network, but it's not an elite group either. It marks the point where distribution starts to thin, not where dominance begins. For even more perspective, to reach the top 10% of XRP wallets, you only need a few thousand XRP. To enter the top 1%, you need well above 50,000 XRP, and only a few hundred wallets hold more than 5 million XRP, a tiny fraction of the entire network. So if this is where the curve really changes, what does that actually mean for you? Another important detail: the network isn't static. The XRP Ledger keeps growing. Recent on-chain data shows hundreds of thousands, even over 1 million, new wallets added over relatively short periods. So percentages shift over time. What looks rare today can look different tomorrow, not because balances move, but because the base keeps expanding. Round numbers feel powerful. They feel intentional. 10,000 sounds cleaner than 9,742. It feels like a checkpoint, even if nothing fundamentally changes at that exact level. Our brains are wired to turn numbers into milestones, especially in uncertain environments like crypto, where clarity feels rare and reassurance feels valuable. Most people don't compare themselves to the entire network. They compare themselves to stories, screenshots, rich lists, viral comments saying, "I just reached 10,000. That creates an invisible ranking system, one where numbers feel like status, even when they're disconnected from real outcomes. That's why content around top percentages spreads so fast. The vast majority aren't looking for raw data. They're looking for reassurance. They want to know they're doing okay, that they're not too late, that their position means something. Numbers become emotional anchors, not analytical tools. Here's the part most investors skip. There is no universal number. What makes sense depends on context, time horizon, risk tolerance, total exposure, and personal goals. Some people did extremely well with relatively small positions. Others held far more and still made poor decisions. Numbers alone don't define outcomes. History shows this clearly. Some individuals accumulated modest amounts early and held patiently. Others chased larger targets, overextended themselves, and exited badly. The difference wasn't the number of tokens. It was behavior, timing discipline, and emotional control. More isn't automatically better, and less isn't automatically meaningless. When people ask, "Do I need 10,000 XRP?" what they're really asking is, "Am I positioned correctly?" That's not a math problem. It's a strategy problem. And strategy is about coherence, not chasing a number someone else turned into a benchmark. Holding 10,000 XRP can represent something meaningful. It can be a disciplined accumulation target, a way to define exposure, a psychological commitment to a long-term view. But it's important to understand what it actually is, a reference point, not a guarantee of anything that follows. What 10,000 XRP does not guarantee is just as important. It doesn't guarantee perfect timing. It doesn't protect you from volatility, and it doesn't magically turn patience into profit. Holding a number doesn't remove risk. It only defines exposure. Everything else still depends on decisions made over time. This is where many people get trapped. They mistake size for safety. They assume a bigger stack means fewer mistakes. In reality, large positions amplify behavior, both good and bad. Without discipline, bigger exposure doesn't reduce risk. It magnifies it. Numbers don't create stability. Structure does. Here's what usually happens next. Once someone reaches 10,000 XRP, the goal quietly moves. 10,000 becomes 25,000. 25,000 becomes 100,000. The finish line keeps shifting, not because the market demands it, but because comparison never stops. Targets multiply faster than clarity. Long-term winners rarely fixate on milestones. They focus on structure, risk limits, time horizon. Instead of asking, "How much more should I get?" they ask, "Does this still fit my plan?" That shift from accumulation to coherence is where most people fall behind. Chasing targets feels productive. It feels like progress. But often, it's just motion, without direction. Most people don't lose because they started too small. They lose because they never stopped adjusting the goal instead of adjusting their behavior. The trap isn't having too little. It's never feeling settled. When you step back and look at the distribution again, one thing becomes clear. Most wallets are small. Very few are extremely large. But success on-chain isn't evenly distributed by size. It's shaped by patience, timing, and survival. The network doesn't reward chasing thresholds. It rewards staying coherent. So, what is 10,000 XRP, really? It's not a finish line. It's not a promise. It's a reference point, a way to contextualize your position within the network. Useful for perspective. Dangerous if mistaken for destiny. Understanding the map matters more than reaching a marker. The real edge isn't having a specific XRP amount. It's knowing where you stand, why you're there, and what would make you move. Most costly mistakes in crypto don't come from math. They come from misunderstanding distribution, risk, and expectations. Clarity protects better than any round number ever could. Holding 10,000 XRP, it's great, yes, but it doesn't define your future. Understanding what that number really means does. In crypto, most mistakes don't come from bad assets. They come from bad assumptions. If you want to explore the world of crypto, don't chase miracles. Educate yourself. Because in this world, a simple click can change a life. But only knowledge can protect your future.